The film begins in the near future, where the use of remotely controlled androids called surrogates allows everyone to live in idealized forms from the safety of their homes. 14 years ago, the work on the technology began using monkeys and disabled people to help them function again. 11 years ago, the surrogate technology began to be used in warfare and industrial use, which led to their widespread adoption. 7 years ago, surrogates became a part of social daily life, and issues like crime rates and plagues became history. But 3 years ago, protests against the surrogates began, and surrogate-free zones were established in major cities, led by Zaire Powell, the prophet, Jared Cantor, the son of Dr. Lionel Cantor, the inventor of surrogates, and the former head of their manufacturing company, Virtual Self Industries, VSI, visits Fort Point while he's pursued by a man in a motorcycle. Inside the club, he climbs a floor and effortlessly jumps on the dance floor. He takes a woman outside, but the pursuer from earlier uses an electronic device to attack him. He then goes on to cause a car crash and kills several other surrogates. FBI agent Tom Greer and his partner, Agent Jennifer Peters, arrive on the scene to investigate. They discover Jared's and the girl's Cameron McAllister's surrogates, with their eyes blown up and memory chip fried, but no reports of vandalism filed from the surrogate's operator. They go to Cameron's apartment to investigate, who is revealed to be a fat man who has also died with the surrogate. Tom returns to his home, places his surrogate in a closet, and wakes up in his own body. He goes to his son's room, who died in a car crash several years before, which made him estranged from his wife Maggie, and can never see her outside of her surrogate. When he tries to knock on her door, Maggie's surrogate opens it. He tries to plan a vacation with her, but Maggie puts off any conversation about it. Jared's class fellows discover him dead in his apartment. The police are shocked at the scene since a surrogate's operator feels no pain when their surrogate is damaged. They issue a media blackout about linking the deaths to the surrogates. Tom and Jennifer determine that a human used a new type of weapon to overload the surrogate systems and kill their operators. They go to visit Lionel Cantor and have an interview with his surrogates, who look surprisingly like the surrogate of Jared. Lionel reveals that Jared did not grow up with him but his mother, but Lionel allowed him to use his surrogates to get close to him. Because of this, they assume that the assassin was after Lionel and killed Jared when he was inhabiting his surrogate. They go to the Virtual Self Industries, VSI building, to investigate how the destruction of the surrogate could cause the death of their operators, but are harassed by their lawyers, forcing the interview to end. Instead of leaving the building, however, Tom goes to the engineering section to question Seth Steinberg, one of the senior engineers, who reveals that a couple of soldier surrogates were sent in with some components missing. The two proceed to the defense, who reveal that they don't know of any weapon that could cause deaths to the operators through the surrogates. Jennifer can discover the identity of the assassin from their criminal records. Miles Strickland, who was previously arrested for armed robberies but was left off because someone in the system was protecting him. They can locate him in an alley, and Tom goes to investigate. Meanwhile, Jennifer is told by the network system administrator Bobby Sonder that the police have created an illegal program that allows them to temporarily unlink the surrogates from their operators, the logic being to prevent them from committing crimes. A chase ensues between the police and Strickland, who attempts to lead them into an anti-surrogate zone known as the Dread Reservation, where they don't have jurisdiction. When Strickland is knocked off his motorcycle, he uses his weapon to kill the pursuing surrogata police officers and aims the weapon at the helicopter carrying Tom. Tom survives by removing his connection to the surrogati, just as the electricity hits, and wears it again to return to a crashing helicopter. It crashes inside the Dread Reservation. Tom immediately picks up his weapon and starts pursuing Strickland. Strickland leads Tom through various obstacles but is unable to fire his weapon. Tom eventually corners him and asks him to give him the weapon, but the mob helps Strickland and destroys Tom's surrogate. Meanwhile, Tom awakens in his room, bleeding from his nose, and goes to ask for Maggie's help before passing out. Maggie returns home and finds him outside her room. The Dread leader, the Prophet, asks Strickland who gave him the weapon, but Strickland never saw the perpetrator. The Prophet kills Strickland, confiscates the weapon, and declares revolution against the police. Tom wakes up in the hospital next to Maggie. Andrew Stone, his FBI superior, comes to the hospital to inform Tom that he's been suspended, and the Bureau won't supply him with a new surrogate until an official inquiry. Tom reminds him of the urgency of the case and tells him that Strickland killed 5 cops, but Andrew tells him to rest and heal. Tom does the opposite and leaves the hospital. With his surrogate destroyed, Tom is forced to interact in the world without one. He meets Jennifer outside, who is surprised that he looks like his surrogate. Tom develops anxiety from being out without his surrogate after a very long time and is unable to walk further. They try to get a cheaper surrogate for him, but Tom cannot use it well. He wants to pursue the case, but Jennifer tells him that Andrew has taken over it. As a human, he can walk inside the Dread reservation and see his surrogate crucified and the Prophet holding a funeral for Strickland. He's surprised to see how primitive everything is inside the reservation, but envies their human connection to each other. He tries to question the Prophet about the weapon, but he's assaulted by his guards to make him feel the human pain. The Prophet denies having the weapon and sends Tom out, but he's keeping it in a secure safe. As Tom is walking, he's approached by Dr. Cantor in a child surrogate body, who takes him in his car and asks him how his son died. And Tom replies a car accident. He tells him about Strickland's death, but Cantor believes that the case isn't over yet, since someone else is funding him. He tells him to focus on where the weapon came from. Tom goes to investigate the weapon and learns that it is called OD, Overload Device. He further learns that VSI originally produced the weapon, designed to load a virus that overloads a surrogate's systems, thus disabling it, under a government contract. Unexpectedly, the weapon also disabled the fail-safe protocols protecting operators. The project was promptly scrapped, and all prototypes were supposedly destroyed, except this one. Tom informs the military that the weapon is with the Human Coalition, prompting them to take over the case. Meanwhile, the Prophet orders the weapon delivered to Jennifer. Tom returns to Maggie's workplace to apologize to her and tries to make amends, but Maggie sends him off again. Meanwhile, a military raid happens on the reservation. The Prophet is shot, revealing he was a surrogate and that Cantor himself was its operator. The hijacked Jennifer surrogate reveals to Tom that Andrew Stone, his FBI superior, supplied the weapon to Strickland and ordered Dr. Cantor's assassination, upon Victor Welsh from VSI's request for his criticism of surrogate use. Jared, who had, unbeknownst to the assassin, been using one of his father's many surrogates, was killed instead. Tom goes to the FBI to question Andrew, who brings him into his office but refuses to admit it. When he's calling security, Tom disables his unit, steals the data from Andrew's laptop, and escapes with the help of Jennifer. She asks him to find the codes that activate the weapon, and when he finds them, Jennifer causes a car crash and escapes with the codes. Tom uses the car to pursue, and a car chase ensues, in which Jennifer causes his car to crash in a shop. When FBI agents come to arrest him, Tom is able to hide under the car. He escapes from the rubble and calls Bobby to tell him to disconnect Jennifer, but Jennifer already has him hostage. Tom tries to contact Maggie to tell her to disconnect from the surrogate before the virus is uploaded. Meanwhile, Andrew goes to intercept Jennifer, but Jennifer reveals that Cantor has been controlling not only the Prophet, but also Jennifer and the surrogate he used to kill Jennifer as well. Using Jennifer's surrogate in FBI headquarters, he wants to take revenge for his son's death from Andrew and destroy the surrogate technology. Andrew confronts him about this and the implication of his plan, sending human technology backward. But Cantor uses the weapon to kill Andrew in retaliation for his son. Tom rushes to see Dr. Cantor, and when his security guards try to stop him, he shoots them and makes his way upstairs with the police in pursuit. Meanwhile, Cantor proceeds to upload the virus to all surrogates, which will destroy them and kill their operators. Tom is finally able to reach Dr. Cantor's lab, which holds him at gunpoint. Cantor reveals that he only wanted to empower the disabled to live normal lives, but after he was fired from VSI, they capitalized on surrogacy for profit, and now he wants to bring the world back to normal. When Tom tries to talk him out of it, the virus is uploaded, and convinced his plan is unstoppable, Cantor disconnects from Jennifer's surrogate and swallows a cyanide pill. Tom takes control of Jennifer's surrogate, and with the assistance of Bobby, he insulates the virus so the operators will survive. But another step is required to save the surrogates. Though Bobby pleads with him to press the button, after a moment of consideration, Tom chooses to let the virus permanently disable surrogates countrywide, and his surrogate is shot by the FBI. All the surrogates are simultaneously disabled around the country. Tom goes out to inspect the chaos and sees people emerge from their homes, confused and afraid. He rushes to his home and breaks open Maggie's door to find her missing. He finds her real form in his room, and the two share an emotional embrace in their real form. We see an aerial view of the collapsed surrogates, along with overlapping news reports of downed surrogates all over the world, and how people are now on their own again.